Jusuf Nurkic has been in a space for the Suns over the last couple of games spanning from Friday of last week against Utah in that weekend series, and then obviously trickling into yesterday's game, which was arguably his most effective, comprehensive game. So let's go ahead and zoom in and just look at some of the little things that he was doing in yesterday's win, as they kind of entail a little bit of the greater scheme of things in terms of what he's been doing in the space he's been operating in. First play here to start the second half. All of these plays are coming in the third quarter specifically. We're just going to look at the usage of Nurkic, and we're going to see him being used in pistol 5 here. So we see him stepping up here. He's going to get the catch here after the pitch from Book, and then he's going to then empty out to the corner on that strong side. And then this is going to become a little bit of a handoff here with Kevin Durant. And then what I like most about this is A, is inverting the offense. B, is stashing Devin Booker one pass away. And C, is going to end up flipping into a rescreen with Kevin Durant. You see the initial under here from Jeremy Grant. Flattens out the action. They get into the rescreen, and look at the location of where this rescreen is happening. It's at the elbow, in the middle of the mid-range. Guess what that means? That means that DeAndre Ayton, his typical drop coverage has to step up to the level of the screen, because if not, this is going to be an easy pull-up for one of the best mid-range shooters, arguably the best of all time, with a live dribble and in rhythm. So Ayton has to step up here as Jeremy Grant tries to navigate the screen, and understanding and processing that Nurkic knows that he doesn't have to set a true screen given the location of the screen here. So he's able to just make Jeremy Grant take that one step with the inside foot to navigate it, knowing that Ayton has to step up, and he's able to just speed cut into this role here. And again, because Devin Booker is one pass away, Toumani Camara isn't even thinking a tag, but this action is also happening entirely too fast to where he can't even get over there if he really even wanted to, which I don't think he did, given Devin Booker's one pass away. All of that concedes the rim and is aided by the spacing of Devin Booker being one pass away, but also Eric Gordon being spaced off the nail. So Malcolm Brogdon isn't compromised. He doesn't necessarily want to dig too deep in because he knows who he has. You can kind of see him reverting back out as Kevin Durant starts to turn the corner. And then also Grayson Allen. That's the effect of this starting lineup. This has just been so good with spacing and really optimizing all of the actions and sets that the Suns like to get into. And all of that just adds up to Nurkic being wide open into this quick roll, this speed roll, and he's able to get up a dunk here. And we're just going to kind of let it flow through so you get a better feel for the pace of action that's happening here. So we got pistol 5, we got the handoff, flattened out, rescreen, speed turn, boom. That is entirely too quick and great process from the Suns in the half court and usage of Nurkic. So good, they come back to it, and they're going to get into a different look this time. It's going to be more like, kind of like split cuts off the elbow, but also looking a lot like their Chicago action where Devin Booker gets a screen into a handoff here. It's just going to be a stationary handoff this time versus it being a dynamic handoff with Nurkic dribbling. So we see this little bit of a brush screen from Kevin Durant, and then we see Devin Booker get the handoff, and this is enabling access to DeAndre Ayton. They're going to treat this like drop. As you can see, DeAndre Ayton not fully committing to the ball, and Devin Booker is going to miss this shot here, but I just like the process and the usage of Nurkic here. Gets this catch off the elbow. It's pistol action again, and then they revert it back into, like I mentioned, a little bit of split cuts here, but also a little bit like zoom as well. And it's getting Devin Booker downhill with pace, trying to gain access to the opposing center. Like I said, it's a miss, but the process, and you can see how it's just kind of unveiling and why it makes so much sense. And then here we're going to revert to the defensive side of the ball now and just look at Nurkic being active in his drop. So we see the Blazers flowing to double away or stagger away. And we see Grayson Allen trying to navigate against Shaedon Sharpe. But we're looking at Nurkic here on the catch because, A, like I mentioned before, this is drop coverage. And we're going to look at specifically how he evades conceding the contact that Sharpe is looking for as he gets into this curved angle drive off the catch. Flows off of the staggers. Allen is chasing. Nurkic knows that because the leverage is lost and there's almost no touch and contact even, he has to take over for the ball. So they go into the veer back switch here, and we see Nurkic in his drop do a great job, as you can kind of see with his body language, kind of jumping back, not trying to concede any contact for Shaedon Sharpe to play off of. And that all enables Shaedon Sharpe, forces him off balance a little bit, as you can see as he gets into that last step into the layup. And then also allows for Nurkic at this still frame to get up a great vertical contest, all without fouling. And to do this in real time at full speed is tough. A lot of centers, a good percentage of centers can't do this. And Nurkic is able to execute this against a dynamic player coming downhill at full steam. And then the job's not done as he gets back into the play and stays active. And you can see him get this deflection. Ayton originally gets this rebound, but Nurkic deflects it, and then the Suns are off to the races. And then here we're going to see a little bit more of the same with Nurkic, just being active in his defensive coverages. So we see a swing back to the second side here after some initial handoff action early in the clock from the Blazers. And now they're going to flow into an empty side, or not empty rather, but it's going to be a step-up screen on the second side rather. And we see Nurkic up the touch and getting up to the level of the screen. This is a little tough because of the pace at which it's moving, but he's able to flatten out the action, does a great job of even making Sharpe turn and revert back and take some retreat dribbles in a sense. Then he's able to keep the defensive shell intact by doing so. And now what do you do next to finish off the play? Grayson Allen gets beat a little bit downhill here, but look who's there to clean up and put out the fire at the basket with just a solid contest. Not doing too much, not conceding the pass to the drop-off to DeAndre Ayton either. Just getting up a solid contest. That's a miss. And then again, the job's not done. He had to step over to make a contest on the ball. So that means naturally DeAndre Ayton's going to be free for an offensive rebound. He understands that, gets right back into play, and he's focused. Gets up a very solid contest on the hook shot. One of Ayton's patented shots. That's not a foul. And then the Suns are off to the races. Again, Nurkic just nailing the little things and doing it in a consistent, sustained manner on a possession-by-possession basis. Here, we're going to see more of the same. See him in drop coverage in the empty corner. And as you can see, when Mays rejects the screen, you can see him immediately get a reaction out of Nurkic, and he drops down into his stance to be able to slide laterally, not fully commit, but just being an athlete in space. And that's exactly what he does here. Does a great job letting Eric Gordon do his job as a guard in drop coverage and getting back into the play to take over for the ball. But as he gets into the pickup points, this is where Nurkic decides to obviously commit to the ball, forces up a tough shot, gets some legal contact with his midsection, and then he's able to get this ball, but not just get the rebound. It's the quickness with which he processes the catch. And look at where his eyes are immediately once he knows he has the rebound. He's looking up to find a teammate. And look at where all of the Blazers are at this still frame. Look at where Kevin Durant is. There's only one Blazer back on defense. That's Kevin Durant. That's splitting the difference between that Blazer on the other side of the court and Nurkic, who has the ball right now. And what this pace to get into transition does, this outlet pass. Catch, outlet pass, and look at the pace that's generated from it. This is a one-on-one for Durant initially. Now, he's going to reject it as the Blazers do a good job getting back into the mix. But again, everybody's back is turned, so Durant's eyes are up. And look at Devin Booker dashing in from the opposite baseline to get a hustle point in transition. All again aided and started by everything that Nurkic is doing on the defensive side of the ball. And then here, this is just him doing his job on offense. Not necessarily being Kristaps Porzingis or anything even close to that, not even Miles Turner, but just doing his job. And whenever the opportunity presents itself and it makes sense and flow and relative to the shot clock and context of what they're doing on offense, gets to the pop and just knocks it down in rhythm. Taking what's available to him, not forcing it, not going out of his way to do it either. And then here we're going to see another little bit of things that he's just doing little things for the Suns to maintain advantages, set advantages, and just really just be a solid team player. He's going to get this screen. It's going to be a switch. But if you want to look at it a little bit closer, they don't necessarily want to switch as you look at who's involved. He's obviously setting the screen for Kevin Durant. They don't necessarily want to switch this, but look at the timeliness and the cleverness of Nurkic on this roll. He knows that they don't necessarily want to switch. So you can see this contact with Jeremy Grant here trying to give an initial under on Kevin Durant, given the point of the screen and the location of it being almost at half court. Nurkic, again, understanding that, gets into his role as Kevin Durant breaks that leverage. And that's going to ultimately force, as you can see this reaction out of DeAndre Ayton from the free throw line, stepping up into his drop in an emergency switch situation, the cleverness and timeliness of this role from Nurkic is going to force a late switch. And that late switch is then going to be exacerbated, as you can see, with the inside hand from Nurkic. He's going to hook Jeremy Grant and keep him a beat behind schedule in terms of trying to rotate over and rim protection for this Durant layup. And Durant's going to ultimately be able to finish. But this is just the little things that Nurkic is doing. He's just such a high IQ thinker out there on the floor. Problem solving and advantage creating. That's just two areas of the game that he really, really excels at. And again, it's not a foul if you don't get caught. So anything you can do to make the job of your elite scorers even the slightest bit easier is going to be a major plus for the team. And that's exactly what he earns right there. And then the play's not done because he hustles back on the other side. Kevin Durant is able to, after scoring, hustle back. They try to put pressure and put Kevin Durant in a compromising situation. He's back early enough to force a redirect, and look who's there to finish up the play. Nurkic. You redirect so that you can give your rim protectors a chance to get back into the play and get a block from behind. And that's exactly what they execute here. Again, just doing the little things over and over, compounding and stacking them over and over on both sides of the floor. That's just the little things, the supplementary things that Nurkic has to continue to nail and execute upon, and that's exactly what he's doing. And then on this final rep here, or the second to last rep rather, we're just going to see him get into understanding that, again, any slight of contact in terms of the pace that he's generating in this action with Kevin Durant is going to slightly garner a little bit of a switch. And we see just that. He gets into a quick push screen. He's not really setting it to allow for Durant to get downhill or anything like that. It's just a quick push to catapult him into the short roll. Durant does a great job with his touch here, getting his pass over the outstretched arms of Ayton. And now look at Nurkic with the catch in the short roll below the free throw line. Look at this athleticism on display here. As you see Toumani Camara stepping in for this charge initially, trying to take the charge. But look at Nurkic's control and how he garners back the pace in this action. He takes one more step where it's off balance on this catch. That's a charge automatically. The referees are waiting to blow that whistle. He slows the entire pace down on this catch. Looks to see if there's a pass there, obviously coming from that smart cut here from Okogie opposite baseline. It's not there. The dust settles and it respaced back out. Now he's able to get up a soft touch finish at the basket, and he finishes. And then on this final rep here, looking more at the defensive side of the ball, this is just him and the benefits of when we see him up at the level of the screen, even if it's not to show or even put two to the ball, it's just to cut down angles. And as we slow this down here and we let it roll through, we can see Nurkic up to touch initially. There's a touch. He's up to touch and then ultimately getting back into his drop. But again, because of the angle at which that changes that play of the action here in this middle third of the floor, they're going to ultimately get back into a veer screen as we see Okogie's going to peel off, get back to the roller. But look at this contest here from Nurkic on a pass. If he's sitting back here as Mays comes off of the screen, that live pass to DeAndre Ayton, if he throws it from here, is going to be a lot easier to get to him versus if Nurkic is here up to touch and then he's reverting back in these backpedal steps while keeping leverage and taking away the angle for the vertical spacing that the Blazers are trying to get into. Now, ultimately, this is aided, and he might actually have even gotten a tip on this pass. Nonetheless, we see this veer back switch from Okogie, and he's able to get back into the action, and then the Suns get a steal, and then they're going to be able to get another opportunity in transition. Just the little things that Nurkic is nailing consistently for this team on both ends of the floor and stacking those events that he's causing and creating is going to continue to be a driving force in everything that the Suns are trying to do at the foundation of this new rendition.